A lot of people think it's copyright. They think it's the ideas or the designs.
Yeah, that's most of the arguments on Twitter. Is people are like, they didn't steal from Pokemon. They stole from Pokemon. They stole their design. It's not about their designs. It is specifically about the ball, throwing a ball to catch a Pokemon, which is a game mechanic they claim only they can use, which I would argue shouldn't be allowed, but whatever. And then the act of changing. Not gliding with animals, but the ability to change the animal you're gliding with on the fly. Is specifically what they claim they've patented.
They not only have a weak case in the U.S. due to the modifications, but they may actually lose their patents. Their patents could be declared invalid. So because of...
Good, because they should have never been valid to begin with. All right. Let's learn all about the Palworld lawsuit.
Pokemon is losing their legal battle with Palworld, according to what we can take from the latest new update in their case with the information we have gleaned. We're to get into that today on The Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge.
I want to see what his take on it is, because from my understanding, what they're doing is highly unusual and is just them targeting Palworld and trying to put them out of business, and that it has nothing to do with their patents anymore. And might be illegal, or at least would be in the States, which is why they're having trouble getting a lawsuit here.
Of course, I'm Andrew Esquire, American attorney, breaking down these legal issues all over the world. And today we have the fascinating case of Pokemon versus Palworld. This is something that I've actually covered on previous streams. I've covered this in the past. But once again, with these big lawsuits, they often don't have updates for a while. And to give you guys a little bit of background on Pokemon versus Palworld, well, unless you live under a rock, you know about Pokemon, which is obviously a massive franchise, and it's owned between Nintendo and the Pokemon Company. And then you've got Palworld, which is owned by Pocket Pair, and it is really focused on PC. Now, this is very important because one of the big things overall for Pokemon is they've been real console, let's say, loyalists, or you might even say zealots for the consoles. They really don't believe in PC, and they've been pretty hardcore in keeping anything Pokemon-like from entering the PC sphere, which is why they always kind of had an eye on Palworld, and one of the reasons why they took this shot. But the background is Nintendo and Pokemon Company, they filed a case for patent infringement against Palworld Pocket Pair September 18, 2024. Now, this is very, very important, and a lot of people miss the ball here. A lot of people think it's copyright. They think it's the ideas or the designs.
Yeah, that's most of the arguments on Twitter. Is people are like, they didn't steal from Pokemon. They stole from Pokemon. They stole their design. It's not about their designs. It is specifically about the ball, throwing a ball to catch a Pokemon, which is a game mechanic they claim only they can use, which I would argue shouldn't be allowed, but whatever. And then the act of changing. Not gliding with animals, but the ability to change the animal you're gliding with on the fly is specifically what they claim they've patented. To which I would argue is also a game mechanic I don't think that Pokemon should be able to own. None of those are staples of Pokemon, which Palworld then complied with and removed both of those from the game. So then Pokemon updated their patent to try to make it so that they were still in the wrong, even though they had complied with you.
This is not about the specific designs, and this is not about the ideas. This is about the patents. So Nintendo filed these patents and is claiming infringement of certain very specific patents. And that's a really narrowly focused piece of litigation. And now they're claiming they violate, obviously, several patents, not just one. And Nintendo wants an injunction to stop the sale of Palworld and monetary damages.
Yep, that's what it's about. It's about snuffing out the competition, and they want all of the profits that they've made from the games. They don't just want to bankrupt them. They want to make sure that they didn't get a fortune from it either. They are trying to put them out of business. That is all this is about.
So pretty much to kill the game. So to kill the game and recoup any money that Pocket Pair, Palworld made from the game. That's pretty much that's very scary, because obviously you can see the consequence for other game companies, smaller game companies, if Nintendo is allowed to put down Palworld. There will never.
Did you fucking see that shot? Look at this shit. God damn, I'm good.
Be, I think, at least for a while, there won't be anything that comes close or near Pokemon. But we've got some updates here. So obviously, some of the patents that people talked about, one of the most obvious is the catching mechanic with the ball. That's one of the things that Pokemon included in their lawsuit as an infringing patent. However, Palworld has a defense. Palworld's defense is that these patents were never infringed in the first place. They argue that
the problem with them claiming that after they've already removed the stuff from the game brings the question of, well, if you honestly believe that they weren't infringed upon, why did you remove them from the game? What? Well, that's bullshit.
Not only did they not infringe the patents, but the patents themselves are likely not even valid. If you look at the validity of these patents, some of them are ambiguous. They're kind of too broad. They're not in any way violating them on a technical basis. It's not something they have kind of technical exclusivity over, and they're violating that. So that's Palworld's defense, and they've been pretty consistent on that. And the other thing they've done, and which is brilliant, is they've changed the mechanics. And what this does is, while they may...
See, I don't know if it's brilliant or not, because the fact that they changed it so that they wouldn't be in violation of a patent they said they weren't in violation of to begin with raises questions.
While Palworld and Pokemon, both Japanese companies, may have a stronger case, Nintendo may have a stronger case in Japan under Japanese law, under U.S. law, and mind you, the majority of the users for Palworld are in the United States. That's really what Nintendo wants, is to get them hit in the United States. Changing those mechanics is frustrating what's called a good faith basis claim in U.S. courts under U.S. copyright law. So by Palworld making those decisions to change things, to modify certain mechanics, that actually is frustrating them in the U.S. I know a lot of people think Palworld was backing down, but they actually were being smart there. They were playing the long game. They're saying, hey, they're attacking us and they want our U.S. customers. Look, if it ended up a situation where Palworld...
Yeah, that's where the roadblock is, because it keeps them in compliance in the U.S., where the majority of their customers are. So Pokemon can't sue them in the U.S., which makes sense. God damn it.
Was banned in Japan, that really wouldn't hurt their overall market. If they could still go to the US, Europe, Canada, everywhere else in the world, it's not really going to matter too much. The Japanese domestic market isn't going to make or break Palworld. However, the US would. The US certainly would. So they frustrated them on that side. So Pokemon had to counter that, because now their claims, their patent infringement claims, are weak in their primary market. So they're saying, okay, let's try to change something up. Because, of course, Nintendo has a massive legal team, and they have been known, their tactic is to sue people until they're penniless, to go after them with every speck of their legal resources to crush them. Very similar to Disney and other very, very large corporations that are kind of the industry leaders in their specific areas. So the mechanic they specifically modified is actually, it's kind of related to the gliding mechanic, but it's smooth switching of writing objects. So they went to the...
Yeah, so specifically the ability to switch objects while writing.
Japanese patent office recently, and they changed the patent language regarding smooth switching of writing objects. Now, it's very interesting because they didn't make it more clear. They actually added a bunch of legal gobbledygook. We call it legalese, right? They just added some kind of extra superfluous language, including very ambiguous words like even when, which isn't really used especially in patent drafting. I would rarely ever use even when in contract drafting. It's just something that you really don't use because there's other ways you can say things that creates more ambiguity. Now, why would they do this? Well, it's extremely rare to modify your patents, particularly mid-litigation. It's not something you would normally do. It's a very odd move, because if you're modifying your patent What does that mean? Well, what does that mean? Shock Pikachu face. Nintendo is not doing good. Nintendo is actually thinking they're going to take the L. So they realize they not only have a weak case in the US due to the modifications, but they may actually lose their patents. Their patents could be declared invalid. So because of
good, because they should have never been valid to begin with. Damn.
That risk, they're trying to throw out some confusion, some ambiguity, some delay. This is something very common in general as a litigation tactic, particularly if you have a lot of resources. What you try to do is win the procedural victory. Sometimes, let's say the smaller party has justice on their side. We're going to call that the substance of the law. The heart of the law is on the side of the small guy. It's on the side of the underdog. But the big guy has something the small guy doesn't have, and that's money. And when you've got money, you can win a procedural victory. Often this happens by dragging out litigation so long, it becomes costly for the person on the other side, the smaller party, and therefore they have to give up because they're literally being drained dry by litigation, and they cannot do it any longer.
Yeah, you're trying to drag it out as long as possible to bleed them of their funds because you've got more funds than they do, so you can keep going. Like I said, the best bet, God, it is just cheating for this guy today, isn't it? Every time. The best shot that they got was, I remember Microsoft made a bid for him back when they put him on Game Pass. So if they do end up selling to Microsoft, then Nintendo can't bleed Microsoft dry of money. They'll run out of money before Microsoft does.
And that's what Pokemon is doing here. Now, I do think that Palworld so far has seen that they have the wherewithal to get through this and not try to settle it out or get something, where they'd be in a bad position. I think Palworld may be able to fight this, but this is really bad news showing Nintendo doing this. It is an obvious intimidation tactic against small developers, indie developers, showing that Nintendo is committed to litigation and they will sue you all the way to Johto, right? If they feel
maybe just stick to the law, dude. Humor's a bit dry.
Like you are coming even close to anything Pokemon or their market share, or even going on PC with something that's Pokemon-esque. It's really something that they're flexing, saying, hey, look, small creators, indie devs, we will sue you, we will drain you, we will fight this out. You may not be a Palworld. Maybe Palworld will win, and this is actually looking like Palworld may very well win this. But small guys will still crush you. So Nintendo being Nintendo, very interesting. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will catch you on the next.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
I don't know why he put that at the end. They hadn't won yet. It's very possible they might. God damn it.